Airbnb hosts are on here complaining about, no one wanting to book.
My first Airbnb investment flopped and I lost everything.
Are we seeing the downfall of Airbnb? Our cabin that has been booked in the Smoky Mountains from about 85 to 95% occupancy year-round is just not occupied at all.
If you are Airbnb, I'm going to tell you in real time why no one wants to book with you anymore.
Airbnb's downfall is quite simple, actually. It's because y'all deviated from y'all original business model, which was to be cheaper and more convenient than hotels. One, you cost more than a hotel. Now keep this in mind. You can get into a really fancy hotel for less than $200 a day. If you go on Airbnb right now, the cheapest house is $200 a day. Then you have to factor in cleaning fees, which is another $250, $300. With hotels, you just don't have that. With Airbnbs, you got to put all the towels in the washer. You got to put the trash out to the curb. Like with the hotels, you get in, you get out.
So my feed and other people's feeds are full of hosts saying that Airbnb is no longer worth it. Well, my feed is also full of people telling me why Airbnbs are never worth booking ever again.
Airbnb hosts are on here complaining about, no one wanting to book their properties or anything like that. And it made me think about a lot of business models that aren't thriving like they used to be. Of course, people get on here and talk about Instagram and how it's like a monitoring spirit and there's no engagement. That's because Instagram became something that was never intended to be. Like, it was supposed to be a app, full of taking pictures and weird filters, and then it became like this aesthetic focus, everyone's a celebrity app. Airbnb started out to be a cheap alternative to hotels and resorts, but you got above yourself. And one thing that never understood to me, you started letting the hosts make the price and the fees, like adding cleaning fees and all. Who wants to go on vacation? Like, the problem is when you started letting hosts control the fees, people really started realizing it's not convenient. At a hotel, there's the convenience of the front desk. It might be free breakfast, free concierge. Maybe they'll order you, have the information that you might need for a car service, that type of thing. With Airbnbs, some of these, they want you to clean. They tell you can't have people over to your own Airbnb. They have cameras in weird places. They're monitoring you like you're a child. You have become the big brother nobody wanted. So, and that's just to go for Airbnb and Instagram. There's a lot of businesses that are claiming to be suffering, but you've gotten away from your business model, to say nothing of the fact the economy sucks. So you got a bad business model. The economy already sucks, and you're wondering why you're struggling.
Because why I gotta pay a cleaning fee and still clean up before I leave? Talk about it. Airbnb is oversaturated and the hosts are greedy. At hotels, I get fresh towels daily, breakfast, cleaning is included, and a set price. Exactly. 4 p.m. check-ins, and then they want you out at 10 a.m. I'll go to the hotel and get late checkout. Airbnb hosts have lost the plot for all greed now because begging for clients. Staying across the street, spying on people, it's uncomfortable.
Downfall of Airbnb. Our cabin that has been booked in the Smoky Mountains from about 85 to 95% occupancy year-round is just not occupied at all. Our prices right now for 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom cabin overlooking the Smoky Mountains is less than a hotel, and I have to beg people to come to my cabin right now. Like, you guys have seen me, I've been hustling, posting videos for January and February. We had 3 stays in January, and there is only 1 stay coming up here in February, and then our next stay is not till March 10th. I've had plenty of you reach out to me by DM and receive a quote, knowing it's our lowest prices of the season, but I am getting no bites. And I'm legitimately asking, why? What is going on? What am I missing here? And in our cabin in particular, we have prided ourselves, is that a word? In the last 4 years, we have not gotten lower than $100,000 in gross income rental fees. Our competitors with 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom cabins, between 60 and 70 gross. We're a super host on Airbnb. We have all the accolades you can imagine. We have a great social media following. So I'm thinking, if I'm struggling to fill my cabin, I know there are others. So then I'm also asking, like, why? What's going on? And then I'm thinking, as a host, what can I do even more to fill up my cabin? You know, the economy, like eggs, for example, are out of this world right now. Are just people not traveling? Are you guys waiting until the summer? Telling you, I can't lower my prices, it feels like, even more, to be less than what you would find in a hotel. And I'm not necessarily what you call nervous, like we're gonna make things work, but the trend that I'm seeing, you guys aren't biting, and you guys got to coach me up. Like, why?
She's kind of getting reamed in the comments here. I understand her struggle. Like, it would be so annoying and just frustrating and sad to see, oh, I used to make over $100,000 gross every year, and now I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But here's what they're saying. Here's the problem. Cost. I just priced out your cabin, and in the nightly rate was low, but add in cleaning fee, taxes, and Airbnb service fee, it was over $600. Hotels nearby were as low as $86. Yeah, what is the point? So she didn't mention that part, right? That's a little bit sneaky, not mentioning, of course, the hidden fees. I think there is a button on Airbnb where you can see the full price, and I do implore that you use it, because I never, ever, ever, ever will book an Airbnb without looking at all of the fees included within the cost. Don't even bother. I will not be scammed. I refuse to be scammed by people. Because of the fees, a $350 stay turns into $1,300 after the fees. Such good feedback. Well, then don't ask for feedback. Like, you know how the internet is. TikTok is known for being at least the nicer social media, right? Instagram, I think, is probably the most vile and racist and just mean. But it's still a little bit funny. YouTube is, they're snarky, but they're typically rooting for you in the comments. I know some of you in my comments are always in there, so hello. And then TikTok is known for being the nicer, more like, oh, I'm gonna coddle you a little bit. And that's probably what she was expecting by the feedback. But again, at the end of the day, it's the internet. The internet people are gonna be internet people. I also don't think that was that mean of a comment, because there is some truth to it. It's just an over exaggeration. Get over it. I've gotten so many mean comments myself. Take a look at some of my other videos. Just let it roll off your back. It's the humiliation with the fees and the chores. I can stay at a hotel and I'm treated like a welcome guest. Airbnb, I'm treated like I should be thanking the owner instead of other way around. I'm not saying you do this, but I stopped staying at Airbnbs because of the binder of chores. I had to strip beds, take out trash, wipe down kitchen. Hotel is more relaxing. I agree with everyone saying fees and cleaning, but I also stopped Airbnb because it has created a culture of property hoarding that drives up local rent, so less actual residents can afford to live there. Again, and I'm thinking more from a global perspective, like with Barcelona, Valencia. I think Mexico City had also those problems. I never really pay attention to what's going on in my own country, Airbnb wise or just vacation wise, because I am never taking a vacation in the US unless it's in Chicago. And then I go stay at a hotel because I don't want to deal with any of these issues.
My first Airbnb investment flopped and I lost everything. If you follow me and stay tuned for the whole video, I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. First, I'm gonna tell you, most people do not keep it real about Airbnb and most of the investments in real estate that they talk about here on Instagram and TikTok and all that. A lot of people are just fake gurus trying to sell you courses and feed you lies. But I'm here to tell you, I've actually done the business, I do the business, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. Because my number one focus is for everybody watching my stuff to win. So back in 2022, my ex-girlfriend and I, we got an Airbnb property in Vegas. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, newly renovated. The area was kind of ghetto. It wasn't like if you know Vegas, the UNLV area is kind of ghetto, I'm not gonna lie. But the complex itself was like renovated, nice, updated, and all that stuff, so it was pretty cool. Well, within like 2-3 months, that property ended up getting closed. And not the whole complex, just our Airbnb unit. The reason behind this, a lot of people online will make it seem as if you're gonna make $5,000, $10,000 a month off one Airbnb or something. Yeah, it don't work.
And that's the thing with the internet. Don't listen to the people on the internet who are promising to make you rich. I wonder if he bought a course. I haven't seen this full video yet, but people like to put rose-colored glasses on themselves and others and make things seem that it's gonna be way easier than it is. Airbnb is still, I think, probably a good business model. Heck, I'm in an Airbnb right now as I'm filming this video. But if you don't go in with the strategy, if you don't go in like knowing how, your specific market works, or if there is an actual market for an Airbnb in your area, if you're in the middle of nowhere, or if you're in a really, highly populated city, maybe there's something in that sweet in between. You don't know what's going on, and neither does the person telling you to start, and neither does the person on the other end of the screen telling you to start an Airbnb know what your situation would be, right?
You have to think, to make that kind of money, you need to be getting booked up. Well, unfortunately for us, we weren't getting booked but the weekends. And it was like this for basically the whole time, and therefore we were barely breaking even.
And that's another thing. So it sounds like he was only getting booked on the weekends and not really on the weekdays and breaking even. So it sounds like it was a good area. He would just need to charge more, right, for that area. But the thing is, you can only charge so much where there's a cap on the willingness to pay of the customer. Like if you could just go stay at a hotel, get room service, free breakfast, other amenities like a pool or gym that's within the Airbnb or within a hotel, why would you choose an Airbnb versus a hotel? For like the kitchen, you have to make sure that you just know what's your differentiator between your Airbnb and the rest of your competition out there. I had an Airbnb out of state for 2 years and only visited the property once. I had a very reliable and trustworthy cleaner, and she made store runs for me as well.
Are we seeing the downfall of Airbnb? Our cabin that has been booked in the Smoky Mountains from about 85 to 95% occupancy year round is just not occupied at all. Our prices right now for 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom cabin cabin overlooking the Smoky Mountains is less than a hotel, and I have to beg people to come to my cabin right now.
Airbnb's downfall is quite simple, actually. It's because y'all deviated from y'all original business model, which was to be cheaper and more convenient than hotels. At first, you guys were, but now you just aren't. Number one, you cost more than a hotel. Now keep this in mind. You can get into a really fancy hotel for less than $200 a day. If you go on Airbnb right now, the cheapest house is $200 a day. Then you have to factor in cleaning fees, which is another $250, $300. With hotels, you just don't have that.
That's another thing, the cleaning fees. I always make sure I book an Airbnb without them because I get it, like I'm a guest in your home, but this is a business. You are a business owner. I'm not going to clean your place top to bottom. I'm going to leave it probably how I left it. It's not going to be spick and span ready for the next guest. I don't want to be the person that's reliant on the cleanliness for your next guest. That doesn't make any sense to me. Again, for example, my Airbnb host is like, do you need any more towels? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh yeah, I think, at the end of the week would be nice. Well, I only do it every 2 weeks. Then don't ask me when I would like new towels and point me to a laundromat. Don't do that. If it was a hotel, obviously you would get your towels within that hour, at least at the end, at max at the end of the day, right? That's true. That is literally true. You would get it by the end of the day. The one thing that sticks out obviously is I have a kitchen, but it's a kitchenette. It's not even real. There's no oven. It has the 2-burner stove, a kettle, no dishwasher. I have to hand wash, a microwave, and a mini fridge. And I'm not in a very luxurious part of the Czech Republic. I'm in its 3rd largest city, which isn't really anything to call home about. And I'm paying just a little over $1,000 a month here. And you can't bring me a towel within the first week. Like Airbnb, you do suck, to be honest, right?
Airbnbs, you got to put all the towels in the washer. You got to put the trash out to the curb. Like with the hotels, you get in, you get out. You check in, you check out. That's it. Then you got to factor in all the hidden fees with Airbnb. Your host might not be available 24/7. With hotels, you always have a front desk attendant, so you can always go there if you have a problem. And just think about it. When you're on vacation, you typically go on vacation, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When you buy Airbnb, your first day, you have to go out and go grocery shopping. But mind you, you're on vacation. You don't want to go grocery shopping. You really don't even want to go cook for yourself. With hotels, they offer free breakfast. So all you have to do is go downstairs, eat breakfast, and you are good for the day. So for your typical 3-day weekend, you want to go to a hotel. For your really, really expensive hotels, we're talking about $200 a day. We're at $400 for our typical 3-day weekend, 2-night stay. If you take that same scenario and go to Airbnb, you're looking at $650, $700. On top of the fact that Airbnbs, you have to clean up behind yourself. You have to go out and go buy groceries, and you have to cook for yourself. So not only has Airbnbs outpriced themselves from hotels, you have outconvenienced yourself from hotels as well, if that's a word. So no, it's really not hard to figure out why Airbnbs are failing. You guys have outgreeded your own selves. But
Airbnb also ruined the housing market. Yes. And as one of those tourists in a different place, thankfully this isn't really a tourist city. You don't really see tourists. It's mostly like the foreigners that you see here are the ones that immigrate to this city or, are here on Erasmus or foreign students. Now it's a different situation if it's like Barcelona, right, where they're protesting to get tourists out of their city when really their city needs Airbnb regulations, like I think Valencia does. So obviously Spain is a big country and there are different cities within it, and I believe Spain specifically, or not Spain, but Valencia specifically banned Airbnbs because it was just causing the rents to skyrocket because, well, I could just make my apartment that I was renting out to the locals, instead of getting 600 euros a month, I could get 1,500 euros a month. Anyone with a brain sees how that's a smarter idea. Obviously, you're taking advantage of tourists, but you're also leaving the locals to be SOL because now they can't find a place to rent. Again, when it started, I would just be probably in like the room of someone's flat, their apartment, right? And then it would be shared accommodations. I don't like doing that, so that's why I choose to have my own home on Airbnb, and I stay in cities months at a time. So it's not as feasible to do it in hotels unless it's a cheaper place. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Airbnbs? Especially if you live in a tourist town. Like, has it ruined your housing market if you've noticed that? I am definitely a part of the problem, so feel free to roast me in the comments.
If you are Airbnb, I'm going to tell you in real time why no one wants to book with you anymore. And here's
Airbnb is failing not only because of what this creator said, but I get to remind you and share with you one of my favorite commercials I've ever seen, because I get fired up about really good commercials. This one literally stopped me in my tracks. I was like traveling. I was in a hotel in New York. I was like putting my makeup on in the morning, and VRBO was doing this commercial that I like dropped everything that I was doing because it was so clear to me that they were trolling Airbnb without mentioning them by name. So you're seeing like these, happy people, a montage clips of happy people on vacation. And VRBO is saying in this commercial that unlike other platforms, they only rent out whole houses, because why would you want to stay on your vacation with people you're not going on vacation with? This is where social listening is so important, because the thing is that we have heard stories of people who, are supposed to be running a beautiful room in Airbnb or a loft or a basement or whatever, and their hosts are weirdos, or the other people there like make them uncomfortable, and it's a miserable experience because of the additional people who are there because they only got a room.
Yeah, I've never had that situation. It always, especially as a solo female traveler, I'm more particular about my safety. I travel with like a door stop so that no one can come into my room, no matter if I'm in an Airbnb, hotel, hostel, whatever, just to take that extra precaution. I don't want to be like, well, why was she the victim? Why did she get got like that? I'm not trying to be got, essentially. But no, I don't want to stay in someone's room. That is the original premise of Airbnb and why it was originally so much cheaper to be with. But VRBO, I guess I'll have to take a look at. If she's advertising it, might as well. Or the host who rents out the whole house, but you get there and realize they live on the property and just show up in your kitchen randomly. I've never had that. What I have had that kind of pissed me off, and it pissed me off because also I did not read fully the description of the listing, but why would I ever think this? So typically on Airbnb, you can click on entire home. So I was in Seoul, South Korea, and I was going there with 3 of my friends. And so there were 3 actual bedrooms in that flat. And so we weren't allowed to use the 3rd bedroom because, well, there are 2 beds in one room and 1 bed in the other room. You don't want to do fucking laundry that bad that you're gonna not have me use one room. I stuck to the rules because I don't want to get like dinged or something on my account because I travel quite often. But that just kind of pissed me off and I didn't even leave a review. That really made me upset. So there's another reason. I could honestly rant about Airbnb kind of a lot, although I have never had any bad experiences except for that. I've heard other stories and I just think it's so silly.
Blackmailed by an Airbnb host and I need your help. Have any of you guys ever had an Airbnb situation? If so, please stay here and help me and tell me what I should do for this situation that I'm dealing with. I'm gonna try to make this as fast as I can so people will watch and actually genuinely help me. So basically on June 27th, I checked into an Airbnb in Scottsdale, Arizona. The host is through the Glam Homes, which I believe they own multiple different properties throughout Arizona, Florida, and California. My check-in time was at 4 p.m. So obviously I checked in at 4 p.m. When I got there, literally nothing was cleaned. The kitchen was a mess. Every room was disgusting. The floors were disgusting. The backyard was disgusting. There was not a single clean towel. Trash wasn't taken out. I could go on and on. So mind you, I'm celebrating my birthday. So I have about 10 other guests coming for dinner. And I also had a chef coming at 4:30 to start prepping dinner. So at this point, I'm rancid. I can't even shower because I don't have a clean towel. The chef can't cook because there's not a single clean thing in the kitchen. So the chef's cleaning, I'm cleaning, also while trying to set up and then trying to get ready before all the people come over to celebrate my birthday dinner and who are also staying there. Also keep this in mind, the amount of people that came is the amount of people I put on the reservation. Plus 2, but I told them that I'm gonna have 2 guests that are not staying there come for dinner, but they will not be staying there, and they said that was fine. Anyways.
Problem number 1, not having a clean Airbnb when you arrive, especially at check-in time of 4 p.m. Like, that should already be done. That poor chef is also helping to clean. Like, what the hell? And so now I'm assuming she's setting up here a situation where on Airbnb you always have to let the host know. And I think this is the same for hostels and hotels and other places that you stay, but letting her Airbnb host know that someone else will be joining in the home. So multiple people, and then other people that the 2 others that will be there, but will leave after the dinner and, festivities have ended. So what I assume is going to happen is she's going to get like some sort of bad review, or just like they're going to be watching via one of the billion cameras that Airbnbs typically have on the outside or like in common areas of a room. Which if there are cameras in common areas in Airbnbs, like, no, I'm not going to stay there. Like, that just, it's really creepy, right?
Back to the story about the cleaning situation. I called them. They sent cleaners to come clean while I was there. However, I did pay $2,500, and I believe that I should have gotten a refund for the entire first night, which would have been about like $1,000. However, they were only offering to compensate me for the cleaning fee, which was $400.
Like, I understand only compensating for the cleaning fee, but you want to be able to use the whole building, the whole home, and you can't really do that when it wasn't prepared and ready and was a pigsty. Like, hopefully she gets refunded the full amount because that is completely unacceptable to do.
The cleaners cleaned, it was all good. We're gonna have a great rest of our trip, right? So that was Friday night. The next day rolls around, it's Saturday. Me and my friends that are staying there are drinking, we're hanging out by the pool, having a great time. Then one of my friends came outside and said, Katie, there's 2 people who just walked in here and are taking photos of the place. So first off, I never got a text message that anybody was coming. Second off, it's 2 ladies who knew the code to the Airbnb. Again, it was unannounced that they were coming in, and now they're taking pictures of my belongings and my things. So I walked in and I asked them, why are you here? And they basically said the host sent them to clean. I said, well, the host never told me that you guys were coming to clean, so you guys can leave because I don't need you to clean now. I needed you guys yesterday. And I also think it's a little suspicious that you're taking pictures and that you are just walking in unannounced, because to me that's a complete safety hazard, and I would have been livid had I not been there at the Airbnb, and all my belongings are in this Airbnb and strangers have the code to get in. So I politely told them to leave, so they left. So that happened, and fast forward to Sunday, I check
Could you imagine you just see strangers walk up in your Airbnb, just start taking pictures of your shit?
out, I leave everything completely cleaned, picked up all my trash, picked up everything way cleaner than they left it for me. They refunded me my $400, everything was good. Now, I did go and leave a bad review because at the end of the day, they were not willing to compensate me for the first night, which I think they should.
I gotta say, this is not even about the story, but she keeps saying compensate, and it's driving me up a wall. Maybe she has a different accent, I don't know about, but it's a little bit funny.
And also, those cleaners walked in on Saturday. To me, that's completely unacceptable and a safety hazard. Fast forward to today, I get a message from Airbnb that the host is requesting me to pay like about $600 for a cleaning fee, because the ladies that came in unannounced on Saturday took the pictures of our alcohol and whatever else that we were using because we're staying at the Airbnb that we're paying for, and said that we did not clean the Airbnb after we left on Sunday, and is trying to use those pictures that they took on Saturday, saying we left it that way on Sunday. So now I call the host, and the host says to me, well, we will drop the charges that we're charging you, or you can delete your bad review. So basically I'm getting blackmailed by an Airbnb host. I called Airbnb. They said that they're going to have to review over this issue, and they'll decide if I have to pay the $600 or not. But the whole point is, I didn't leave the Airbnb that way. They came in unannounced on Saturday.
That is genuine fraud. That is so fraudulent to do. And that person needs to be banned from the Airbnb platform. And it sounds like they're like a property group or something that uses Airbnb and probably Vrbo and, you know, Booking.com, other booking sites as well. So they need to be banned off of those platforms and just use their properties as personal use, because that is so fucked up to do. So not only did you not have the space ready, which, you know, probably was part of their plan for a different schmuck that was a guest there before. Cleaners were there, it sounds like, on Friday, but then 2 other cleaners showed up again on Saturday, and they couldn't clean up anything and were taking pictures of a place that was still in use, and you don't check out until Sunday. Like, wouldn't you see on the metadata of those photos, right? If you go onto, you know, Apple, I'm sure Samsung, like Android devices are the same, but if you just like look at the photo details, you can see exactly when and where, if your location is on, for example, when the photo was taken, okay? So this would be very easy, case closed, disprove. They need to be banned off the platform. Let's see what actually happened to them. It looks like she was refunded, thank God, hopefully for her entire stay. So here it says, hi Caitlin, thank you for your patience while we were carefully reviewing the information you provided regarding your recent experience. We truly appreciate your understanding as we conducted a thorough investigation. We want to assure you that we have fully addressed your concerns and taken care of the necessary measures to prevent similar issues in the future. As a part of our resolution, we have issued an additional refund of blank. With this additional refund, the total refund amount to your reservation. All right, well, I couldn't find anything on what actually happened, but again, this is just case in point why people don't want to book with Airbnb. The cleaning fees are the main thing. They were trying to extort her out of money over cleaning. Why would you book with Airbnb when cleaning is supposed to be provided at a hotel? Like, hotels really can't do that unless you severely mess up their hotel. I'm talking like just start going rock star style, bashing stuff up in their room, throwing things. That makes sense, but just normal use of a room, yeah, no. All right, so what do you think? Do you think you're going to book at an Airbnb? Are you gonna find an alternative? Are you just gonna stay at home? Do you even have money to go outside in this economy? Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. If you like videos like this, subscribe for more.